So life didn't work out the way you thought it would, and now you're getting older and you're not sure what to do. Hello everyone, I'm Bobtheorc, and don't worry, it is never too late to start over and become successful. So most of the time when I do these videos about self-improvement and whatnot, I'm gearing them more towards a younger audience, kids straight out of high school who are going into college. I'm trying to help them kind of set the right direction for success in the future of their life. But I was talking to a friend who is a little bit older, and she was having some problems. I thought I would make a video based on some of my experiences. A lot of people don't realize this, but I had to start over about 10 years ago. My mom had died, and we lost a lot of our money. I spent everything trying to pay for medical bills and whatnot. Ended up in a lot of debt, and it was a real mess. And I had to pull myself up and start over. So I'm going to go talk a little bit about what I did and kind of generalize it in a way that that maybe would be useful to you guys, especially some of the people who are older. So the first thing to remember is that nobody's going to save you. The system's not going to help you. In general, you can't rely on the ruling class, on those in power, to pull you out of poverty. If your life is rough, there might be some government services that can help, but for the most part, you're gonna have to do it largely on your own, and that's okay. I'm not trying to worry you or scare you, make you think you can't do it. But the first thing you have to do if you're going to pull yourself out of a mess is you've got to be realistic about what your situation is, and you're going to have to largely do things on your own, and that's okay. That's fine. You can totally do it. The biggest thing that you're going to have to do, though, is you're going to have to kind of have some sort of a long-term vision of what you want, where you see yourself in the future. And this vision may be different depending on how old you are, but remember that Colonel Sanders was in his 60s or something when he started KFC, and he still was able to achieve success. You should go Google him and see about his life story. It's amazing. So be realistic about your situation. Have a long-term vision of what you want to do, because if you don't know where you're going, you can't get there. And then consider that you probably have at least 20 to 40 years of productive life ahead of you, depending on how old you are and where you are in things. But that's fine. I was able to turn my life around in 10 years. And so if you've got 20 to 40 years left of healthy, productive work life, you got plenty of time. You can totally do this. Hell, you can even screw up again and still achieve some level of success. So probably the most important thing if you want to pull yourself out of a hole is you've got to surround yourself with good people. And this is a mistake that I've made in the past, and a lot of people make this mistake. If you don't have good people in your life, if you've got people who are leeching on you or taking advantage of you, who are just not interested in your well-being and your success, you're never going to achieve anything, and you'll always be dragged down. And so you have to surround yourself with good people, and you're going to have to get rid of the people in your life who are holding you back. And that's just the truth of it. If you've got friends who are doing drugs, or who are alcoholics, or who are just negative all the time, or who are not willing to pull their own weight, you're not going to be able to carry them along with you, especially if you're trying to dig yourself out of a mess. If you're rich and successful, that's one thing. They'll still probably try and drag you down, but then you have a greater means to be charitable if you are already successful. But if you're in a rough spot, you're going to have to focus on the people who are good for you, and that's a tough decision. The next thing you got to do is you got to focus on your health. Your health is your top priority. And even when you're younger, your health is your top priority also. But especially as you're getting older, your health span and your lifespan may not be the same thing. My dad is is old compared to a lot of the other people that he hangs with. He's 79 years old now, and he's really healthy, and he's still active, and he's able to do whatever he wants to do, and he'll probably still be healthy for a long time because he takes good care of himself. I'm quite a bit younger than that, but I'm still very healthy compared to a lot of my friends because I take good care of myself and I've invested in my health. And it's always good to invest in your health, but especially if you're starting over, you need that energy and that vigor to be able to overcome your problems. And so eating healthy, exercising, losing weight, all of that stuff is really, really important, especially right now with all the virus concerns. That's even especially important. But if your body is not healthy, if your mind is not healthy, you're not going to be able to achieve success because you're going to be holding yourself back. And we can talk about that in other videos. There's a lot of information out there. The next thing you have to do if you're going to try and pull yourself out of a bad spot is you've got to minimize your lifestyle. It's tough. It's a tough ask, but you don't have the luxury to be extravagant. You may have to take in roommates. Don't eat out. Minimize your expenses because you're probably in debt or you don't have a lot of savings. But you need to the less you're putting out in expenses, the less hard you have to work, and that's going to be especially important later on. So once you've minimized your expenses, now we can look at what's your employment situation. My grandfather once told me that you may not be able to have a job that you love doing that fully enriches your life, but if you can at least get a job that you don't mind doing, that also gives you enough free time to do what you want on the side, then that's pretty good. And the important thing is paying the bills and having enough free time that you can invest in yourself. Because time is your enemy, not the money. And a lot of people don't realize that. The lack of time is far more damaging than a lack of money. So if you have a job that you don't mind doing, and you have free time in the evenings or in the mornings to exercise, to get healthy, to work on side projects, then you're in a pretty good spot. And we can make that work. So the next step in this broad plan is to invest in yourself. Now, the big difference that I've seen in life between rich people and poor people, I'm not talking about the people who are born into wealth, but the self-made wealthy people, the self-made successful people, is how they spend their free time. Successful people invest in themselves, and they spend their free time doing additional productive things. They're not getting drunk in the evening, and they're not going out and partying. They're doing something useful with their free time, and they're investing that free time into towards their future, towards their success. And that's sort of the big secret. And it takes discipline, and you're going to have to build up to that. Not everybody, that doesn't come naturally to everybody, but that's going to be really important. And where I would get started is try to do one productive thing every day that builds towards your long-term future. Once you get into, the important thing is building good habits, right? So once you get into the habit of doing one productive thing every day, and it doesn't have to be anything big, just even you can start with just do your dishes, take out the trash, exercise a little bit, and then eventually start building up to more and more important things. I personally try to do one thing every day that helps my body. I exercise every day. I try to do something every day that improves my mind, reading, learning new things. I try to do something productive every day that builds towards a long-term future. And I try to do something every day that makes my life more efficient. And so if I can do those 4 things every day, then that really gets me going forward. But at a minimum, even when I'm feeling lousy, I try to do at least one useful thing every day that moves my life into a better long-term direction, and that's super important. I can't stress that enough. The next thing on my list is you need to start a side business or some sort of alternative income stream. You don't get rich working for somebody else. You can pay the bills working for somebody else, but a job will not make you rich. And especially right now where the economy is uncertain, you have to have some sort of financial autonomy. And the only way to do that is to have an income stream that you control. For example, in college I started my computer business to make some money to help me pay for school. And it's a good thing I did that too, because when my consulting work fell apart during the pandemic, when all of my clients went out of business, I was really fortunate to own my own company that I could rely on to help pay the bills. And I've got a number of side projects going at any given time. I try to have 3 or 4 income streams at once. That way I have some stability and financial independence, and that's something you can build towards. But start with one, and then once you have a steady income stream, doesn't have to be a lot of money, just something that's regular money that you control, or even side projects that make you occasional money now and then. And then you can take that extra money that you're earning on the side and you can invest it in something. Investment is really important. A job will pay the bills, but investment will build wealth. And there's lots of ways to invest. I'm not going to give you financial advice, but I will give you some lifestyle advice. I personally like owning my own house. A lot of people like to rent because it's easy. I like to own my own house. When I first bought my house and times were a little bit rough, I rented out the spare rooms to friends. I had already surrounded myself with good people, and so it was easy for me to find some roommates. And I was able to pay for the house and basically pay for my living expenses by renting out the extra rooms. And that, combined with my minimal lifestyle, really helped me out getting started. And then after Mom died and I had to get started again, that really helped me out again. So I think that just the stability from owning your own home is great, but you can find other things to invest in. And the secret to investment is you should focus on stuff that you know about. Don't invest in harebrained schemes that you have no knowledge about. And remember that most investment brokers, their job is to make themselves money, not make you money. So you should try to focus your investments in things that you know about, because then you'll be able to make good decisions. And that's the long-term goal. And then finally, my final piece of advice is to pace yourself. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you push yourself too hard, you're going to burn out. So you have to find a steady pace that you can maintain, because pulling yourself out of the gutter and becoming successful, that could take you 10, 20 years. It took me probably the better part of 6 years just to get on my feet after Mom died, and probably another 3 more years to start becoming a little bit more comfortable. I mean, it was a lot of work. It took a long time, and that's okay. Life's not supposed to be easy. But pace yourself, because this is going to be a long marathon. Depending on how much trouble you're in. If you've lost everything and you're $100,000 in debt, this is going to take you a while to get out of that mess. But that's okay. Just pace yourself and have the faith in your ability, or in some higher power. That always works too. But have the faith to keep going and the conviction to follow through, and you're going to be okay. Just one step at a time, and you'll pull yourself out of this. So, have a goal, have your long-term vision, make your plans, have the good people around you that are in a position to help you out. Maintain your health, minimize your lifestyle, make a little bit of money doing something that you don't mind and has enough free time to let you invest in the future, and you can do it. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends. You can check me out at bobtheorc.locals.com. And if there's anything that you want me to talk about, mention it in the comments, or join my Locals channel, and we can talk, and you can give me ideas for future videos. I hope you found this useful. Thank you, and have a good evening.